Oh, this has been so fun, everyone. All right, we're going to be getting started in just a couple minutes for our next Wisdom Watch Party with Amish Shaw. So now's the time to get yourself settled before we get started at the top of the hour.
Into the hallway, door on the left. In the darkness, don't forget to skip a step. Down in the basement, there is a hole, and they won't fix it, though it's claimed so many souls. So we whisper, so we walk. Walking on eggshells, walking away. Always so careful with the words I choose to say. Here in the lamplight, everything glows, blurring the lines between the lies of what I know. So we whisper, so we walk. Should've done something, could've done more. I didn't see you when you opened up that door. They're gonna blame you for breaking your bones. Call it gravity while casting all their stones. Still we whisper.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Wisdom Watch Party featuring Amish Shaw. How is everyone doing after our first session? That was a Wisdom Watch Party with Bridget. And now we're here following up with Amish Shaw after our little break. Okay, John's doing great. Hello, Donna. Manon, great. Love that. Awesome. Great. Okay, perfect. We love checking in with you all. Thank you so much for being here. If you're just joining us, my name is Lisa, and I'll be your host on these Wisdom Watch Parties, and then I'll be co-hosting alongside the incredible Deborah Silverman when you join us for our live breakthrough sessions. We're so excited to be here with you for I Don't Believe in Astrology, our biggest event series yet, full of amazing interviews and insights with Deborah and some incredible guests. This entire experience over the next 5 days is meant to inspire you, empower you, and change your perspective, not just on astrology, as the name suggests, but most importantly, on the perspective you have of you and the people around you. So let me know now in the chat what or who brought you here to this event. I'd love to know. We've got Sabrina. Oh, John, Deborah did. Okay. Myself, always Deborah. Emily Fletcher. Great. Astrology Hub. And we got another Emily Fletcher. We've got Amanda Poole Walsh. Blue. Richard Rudd from the Gene Keys. You guys are calling out a lot of guests that we're actually going to be hosting on this event in this event series. So that's amazing. Facebook, fate, destiny. Yes, love, love, love. No matter why you're here or what you're looking to get out of this event, we're so glad that you're here. Stay with us throughout this process. It has the potential to change your life, really. All right, let's all get situated for an interview with Deborah and Amish Shaw, where they will discuss a health issue Amish was diagnosed with after issues throughout his life kept surfacing, and his entrance into a new perspective on healing, as well as the separation of the ego and the soul. You're going to love this conversation, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this Wisdom Watch Party with Deborah and Amish Shaw.
I know what this is called. It's our interview before the book comes out, and I've picked and chosen some very interesting characters to inspire us and to learn from them, because all astrology is about is understanding the uniqueness of people's personalities. So, Amish, would you begin by just telling the audience a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, sure. My name is Amish Shaw, and I am an entrepreneur and film producer, award-winning film producer.
Tell
And
us the award-winning film you did.
yeah, it's a movie called The Natural Law, and it's about Ayurveda, which is an ancient healing science from India that's over 5,000 years old.
And is that your lineage? Is that where you come from?
That is, my parents are from India. I was born in New Jersey. Kind of a mix of both, if that makes sense. And yeah, grew up like as the son of an immigrant. And, my parents grew up in India, like in jungles with monkeys and cows and bulls and dogs and cats and goats and pigs and hogs and everything. And they came to America and they're like, what is all this stuff, right?
What year did they come to America?
Like 1975 or 6.
Wow.
Mhm.
So you were born after that, and they still obviously had the cultural upbringing,
Correct. And
well steeped in the jungle and brought to them by their blood.
exactly. And the reason for me for making this movie is because I was actually sick for so long, growing up, and I didn't know what was wrong with me, and boom, 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 just getting worse, 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 till I was pretty much on my deathbed.
So
And
wait, when did you start getting sick? How old were you?
I mean, my diagnosis is I have celiac, which is allergic, not even allergic, a genetic thing with gluten. And so if I'm born with a genetic disease that I can't take gluten in, it was since birth, basically.
And when did they diagnose it?
When I was 38.
Oh no!
By the time I was 38, I had 7 ulcers, diverticulitis, inguinal hernia, polyp in my nose. Yeah, it was pretty gnarly, pretty nasty.
Okay, can I just take a moment here and just show you one clue based on your chart? Because I'm going to pull up in every one of these
Yes.
interviews. We're going to see the chart, which is right here. Let me pull this up. So the first clue is you're a double Leo. So everything you do has drama. Like it's not enough to just have celiac. No, you had to have it with the ulcers and the nose, and not till 38. This is so you. It's a very dramatic lifetime.
Mm,
And because you're a Capricorn, you're serious. You're like, okay, listen, I'm going to do everything I do, not only with drama, but with full conviction. And
Uh,
and because you have 3 planets in Virgo, then the quest, I imagine, became, what can I do to fix it? Because Virgo's obsessed with fixing it. And then
okay.
oh, excuse me, just in case the double Leo didn't want to just do it for himself, he had to tell everybody. So is that what happened? You became like the vehicle for everyone to learn?
I did. And what's funny about what you're saying is that because I had already gone to the Western doctors and they kept telling me, nothing's wrong with you, nothing's wrong with you, nothing's wrong with you. And I had surgery and I was on prescription drugs and all of it, and nothing was working. And I just kept progressively kept getting worse. And Ayurveda was kind of like, I'd hate to say this, but my last ditch effort. Even though it's from my lineage, I was doing meditating, I was going to the gym, I was trying to cut out foods, but gluten comes in everything. And little did I know that I was so sensitive to it. And so I started just filming experts around Ayurveda. That's how it started. I was like, I think because there's no movie on Ayurveda and I don't really know much about it, and there's just a bunch of random blogs on it, I'm going to actually make a movie on it because I love media. Media, I don't know if that's in my chart, but it might be.
That's double Leo. They're the most creative, dramatic. They're actresses and actors and directors. That's what they do for a living.
So yeah, this was like my second movie that I was producing, like, and this would be my first feature film. The other one was a 45-minute short. And I just started interviewing, and like I would get more information and be like, so like after the interviews were done, I'd be like, so if you had really bad stomach ache and sinus infections and migraines and your poop was all messed up, like what would you do? And then they'd give me advice and I'd incorporate it. And then the next doctor or the scientist, what would you do? And then boom, 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 I started using all these tools and I was like, I feel like I'm getting a little better. I don't know what it is, but I would still go through the bouts of up and down, but these Ayurvedic tools would make me start feeling a little bit better, more conscious, more aware, less brain fog, less inflammation. And so while I was still sick, it was keeping me above where I could function semi a little bit. So,
Wow. So you lived a life till 38 years old, suffering and not having a diagnosis.
yeah.
And you're so vital now, so distinguished for us. What happened? What was that turning point?
Yeah. So, for me, I've been an entrepreneur my whole entire life.
Mr.
And
Capricorn. Capricorn.
yeah. And so because of that, around 2012, and I don't know, again, probably in my chart, uh,
100%.
yeah, 2012 was like this time when I just gave up on Western medicine and went all into basically Ayurveda and started filming the movie around 2012, 2013. And I said, I don't want to do anything I don't love anymore. And the businesses I was running at the time were like just not aligned with who I was and what I was doing. And I was like, I think this might be why I'm sick. At least that's what I thought at the time. So I got rid of all that. And I said, I only want to do things I love. And it has to be about ancient wisdom. And then, of course, I started getting into all the stuff like yoga and meditation and the things that I used to, like the mantras when I was a child, and really getting into astrology too, actually, getting back into astrology. And I was just like, this is where I want to be. And so it was that shift for me. And then when I finally got diagnosed, actually in 2018, so about 5 to 6 years later, I got diagnosed and I was like, oh my God, I have a diagnosis. I'm going all into Ayurveda because Ayurveda is all about the gut. And because I had so much going on with my gut, I spent the next 2 years. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I spent the next 2 years really getting healthy, but within 60 to 90 days, I started feeling incredibly better. And that was a combination of herbs, cutting out gluten, eating a very specific diet, reforming the gut and all the leaky gut and the ulcers and all of that kind of stuff. And I went to Panchakarma, which is like a detox and rejuvenation retreat. I would do like 2 a year. Um, I got my yoga certification. I went to Vipassana. I did like everything I possibly could to be like, I'm turning all this around. Started going to the gym, working out like 3 times a week, got everything that I could possibly do to just focus on what's going on inside of me. And sure enough, and during this time, actually, what's interesting is there was a 4-year period from 2017 to 2021 where I put the whole movie aside and I was like, I cannot do this movie anymore. It's going to sit on a hard drive and I don't care if I ever finish it. I'm too sick. When I got my diagnosis, I even said, I'm not going to finish this movie. But then it was 2021. I was sitting in meditation and I was just like, and a huge smile came across my face. And I thought to myself, wow, I've never felt like this my whole entire life. I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm confident, no more brain fog, family's good, business is good. Everything seems to be like a sprout had emerged and now it was like flowering. And then it hit me that I needed to finish the movie.
Okay,
That
stop right there. So in 2021, Saturn was in Capricorn.
mm-hmm.
Saturn is the planet of destiny, and it's a make it or break it energy. It's so
Mm,
because in the tarot deck, Saturn's the very last card of the whole deck. Like that's where we come home and we say, "I'll do my destiny," because you all that led up to your contributing to the real message of you can heal yourself from the inside out.
yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, and so that was just an amazing realization, and I was like, "Oh my God, I gotta finish the film." It was like, ah, like time, like, and I remember when I was in meditation, I saw because the hard drive that I recorded all the content on, the video footage, and by this time I recorded 35 to 40 different experts and scientists and doctors, right, all around the world, and I just pictured where the hard
Did you
drive
have
was.
Deepak in your circle?
Deepak, Sri Sri, Dr. Lad, Mimi Guarnari, John Hagelin, Greg Braden,
Of course, your Capricorn went and only got the best.
yeah,
And
yeah.
of course, you did it because for all of you listening, when Saturn hits your sun, when Saturn entered Capricorn, and that's when what touched you, 2019, 2020, that was during COVID. What happens is when Saturn comes to see you, it forces people to get to work. Now, Capricorns love to get to work. So some of us under the effect of Saturn hitting our sun feel oppressed or contracted or kind of depressed, heavy. But for
Mm,
someone like you who had finally got the energetics, you went the opposite. So Capricorn, you were like, and now I can lift this thing up and get it into the world. So
yeah.
sitting in how long did it live in the drawers after you've been waiting and said you were going to stop?
So yeah, it was like about 4 years or so. And I remember in my meditation, I saw the hard drive in the garage in a box, literally in a box that I just stored all my old stuff in. Like, you know, that wire box that everyone has where all the wires just sit in a box? It was in the wire box. And so then my mind went to that wire box and I like pulled it out and I was like, no, we're going to finish this. And I called my editor and I was like, we're going to do this. And
See, that
so,
would be interesting astrologically to see when spirit comes to knock on the door and it came in your meditation and you called the editor and how that activates us. And that's why it's not nice for all of you listening when you're stuck or your body's fighting with you, or when the rhythm is going into winter rather than spring and summer, you'll mistake it to be something's wrong. Actually, what it is the gestation period of us having to learn our lesson, which clearly for you was surrendering, which is Capricorn's worst thing, letting it go until finally it came time for destiny knocked in the door. Okay, so you call the editor.
yeah, I called the editor, and we spent the next 2 years really refining the film till 2023 and having focus groups and my friends and people come over and say, hey, like, what do you think? Anything you would change? What do you like? What don't you like? And for the longest time, I didn't want to put me in the movie. I was like, no, I don't want to be in the movie. I don't. And then everyone's like, dude, this movie's about your story. And I was like, you're right.
Okay, let me just jump in. This is going to crack you up. So your rising sign, this is in my new book. The rising sign is our soul. It's called the ascendant. It's what we're rising into, but we resist it. So you're double Leo. So your soul this lifetime is here to show off, show up, be at the center. But your Capricorn's like, that is so ego. I am so not doing that. But the truth is, when you follow your rising sign, you actually fulfill the ascension process of what
Mm,
you came to do. So as a double Leo, if I was doing your chart, I would have said to you, Mish, it's time for you to step up, stand out. But you were resistant, as we all do. So
I was.
you can all go look at your rising sign and you'll see somewhere inside of your ego, you
Mm,
resist. And Leo rising is so confusing because Leo's, they're supposed to show off. But what soul wants to show off? The soul has no interest in that. So you had a conflicted ego saying to you, a conflicted soul saying to you, do I really want to go and put myself in it? But you did, so keep going. I want to hear this part.
yeah, and there was a lot of like, you know, when you start healing, there's a lot of trauma that needs to be resolved because I was living my life sick. So there was a lot of like things that I had to face. I'll mention that growing up, I grew up in an abusive household, financially not so successful, and I had to resolve a lot of that around my parents, my father, and just things like in my relationship. Like so many things came that I was like, okay, I can put this movie out, but as I was following it, it's like, well, you got to resolve all this other crap that's going on at the same time. And so that was really interesting process. While I was doing this, I was actually also like trying to resolve all these things in my life that I felt I didn't have closure on. And so it felt like closure on so many different aspects, like pop, 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 pop. It just started like firing off, you know? And so for about 2 years, like I said, well, let me back up. When everyone started telling me you have to be in the movie, you have to be in the movie, I was like, all right, I'll be in the movie. The story is about me. I healed myself with this, so why not tell people that I healed myself with it? So then I put myself in the movie and it got better and better and better. And in 2023, we released it and we took it through all the film festivals. And over the course of the first year of the movie being out, we won 9 film festivals. And we went viral on Instagram and everyone started talking about it. And I was like, oh my God, like, whoa, like what is happening? Like this was so amazing. It felt like my soul mission came to life to some extent. Like this is like my whole life of being sick leading up to this moment and sharing it with like the world. And we had a beautiful release party and I had such a good team like working on the project and everything just felt so divine, I guess, like being held by a divine force to some extent. And it had a life of its own and had an energy of its own. And I was tapping into like my ancestral wisdom and like sharing it. And I don't know, it felt like very surreal.
I can see with you have 3 planets in Virgo that your love for purity and selfless service makes your heart sing. Like when things are organized and they really work systematically and you see the evolution in some kind of concrete result for the Capricorn and all the Virgo, you're like, there's evidence. I wasn't just making that whole thing up. And what a fulfillment that was, which is not always easy for Capricorns.
No.
They keep moving and forget to stop. So how was it, this completion of it, of getting to that level, and then what happened?
Yeah, and then like we were thinking of a working title and the name and all this stuff, and now we're thinking of a name for it, and then we finally decided on The Natural Law. And I was like, oh, that's probably taken. Like seriously, the name, the domain, and I looked up thenaturalllaw.com and it wasn't taken. And I was like, how is that not taken? So I reserved it, and that became the movie name, and it became the brand and everything that we launched. And we launched it, and we had amazing partners that supported us, and we have something like over 300,000 streams now, and we're on Amazon and we're on Gaia, and like it's just like wow, it's like oh my God, like I'm living this. And we're leading our first retreat that's going to be a Panchakarma retreat in India, like taking people to the motherland of where this was like founded so they can actually feel that wisdom as well. And yeah, I just feel so blessed to be on this mission, and it feels like I was given a second chance at life. I was miserable. I was literally miserable. I'd have to be in bed by around 6 or 7 p.m. to lay down. I couldn't help do dishes. I couldn't vacuum. I couldn't take care of the kids because I was just like just migraine every day, pounding, you know? It was so bad that the left side of my face had stopped working. My lips wouldn't move. My eye wouldn't move all the way to the left. I couldn't move my head to the left. This whole side of my body was turning hard. And all my blood reports were saying my elevated white blood cell count. So I had a massive infection in my body. And I reversed it all using Ayurveda and of course, some modern day biohacking kind of tools. And, you know, it was lucky that my diagnosis came through what's interesting. My diagnosis came through a modern tool, which is a genetic test.
Oh.
Yeah. And, you know, what's interesting, and this is a question for you, is like, is there anything in my chart where there's like a mask? Because every single doctor that I spoke to in the Western world said, we are not giving you a gluten test because you are not allergic to gluten. And so for me, it was like this mystery illness for the longest time. I was like, something is wrong, but I don't know what it is. And I'm just curious if there's anything that's kind of like that, because it was my whole entire life. Like since I was a kid, I used to be like, my stomach hurts, go to the doctor, and they'd be like, nothing's wrong, here's some Pepto-Bismol, go home.
Did I tell? So yes, did you know that was Neptune? Did you say Neptune?
No, I didn't.
That's so funny. I heard you say Neptune. Yes. So in your chart, I'm going to share that again, just so you can see. Hold on one moment, please, while I push the buttons, because this is the name of the contemporary reality. We live in button pushing. Okay. So there's something in your chart. It's the red line between Saturn and Neptune. So one of the values in this lifetime is your life lessons about purity and health and Virgo, all things to do with details. But there's this interrupter, which is Neptune, that says that consistently saying to you, there's something else happening beyond the veil that you can't put your finger on. This probably continues to happen. There's some mysterious force at work. There's something that's been destined. You can't really interrupt it. The upside of it is clearly this was your destiny. It was wrapped up in mystery and it served you. The bad side is you couldn't get answers. And this is part of for a Capricorn with 3 planets in Virgo, one of the great challenges for you is Capricorns and all those Virgos love concrete results. They love logic. They love systems. They want to have explanations. But Neptune is the invitation to say, nothing is what it appears. And the destiny line, which is so strong in your chart, 3 planets in Virgo, your destiny being Virgo, the healer, the health, and in the 3rd house of communicating it to all of us. But Neptune was always there bugging you, saying, it's a little confusing. I bet to this day you deal with the low-grade confusion, which is the worst thing for Virgo, but it also allows the softness, the humility, because at worst, double Leo Capricorn is very arrogant. Like they're know-it-alls. They show off. They are the ones that are the best film. They got all the 300,000 streams and they've got the 9 awards and they get off on all that. But that is very dangerous.
It is. And that's what led me to get really, really sick, actually. So if I back up and talk about where I got started in my career, I've always had like the ability to get good jobs and make good money since I was a kid. Like literally, like I was working since I was 12 years old to help support the family. And then eventually when I got older, I started getting more corporate jobs and they all paid really well, to be honest with you, for the age that I was at. And I started my business when I was like 22 or 23 years old, my digital online business. And when I was 24 to 25, somewhere in that range, I made my first $1 million online. And being that young, making that much money, eventually that $1 million a year turned to 10 within 5 years. A year, $10 million a year. And so here I was with all the luxury designer clothes, the Rolex and the diamond-studded shades and the Gucci,
Capricorn Leo
Gucci hat and the $500 Louis Vuitton sneakers and like walking around. I had a Ferrari, like, hey, look at me, I'm the shit. Drinking every day, partying every day, Ferrari, and like just all of it was like so over the top. But I feel like I don't have any regrets. I mean, I do a little bit, but like I enjoyed that. But in hindsight, like I would never do that again. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, but I knew that I had an ego at the time. Not at the time, but now I know that I had an ego at the time. And I was just like, fuck you, I own this. This is my fucking shit. I'm the richest man in the world. Get out of here. I'll fucking buy this car and just give me, yeah, it's like, so I had a lot of that. And I would actually treat some of my team like that. And I would treat some of the people around me like that. But at the same time, I would be very generous and I'd pay for their meals and their drinks and all of that. So like I had this almost like dual thing going on. And then I just started getting sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker.
And this was Neptune wrapped up in the sickness. This is Neptune. Neptune is the sacrifice. It's the hangman in the tarot. It's where we surrender and say, I don't know. How did this happen to me? How did I become a millionaire so fast? And how did I get so sick? And then destiny.
I was drinking and partying, of course, too.
Well, that was clear. But the appetite for life that a double Leo has when you're a Capricorn and you have the right to spend it all, and you've got 2 planets in the 2nd house, the planet of money, in the house of the money. I'm going to show you again, because I know many people in my audience do not know astrology. So this is my teaching tool, but I'm going to show you. The planet Jupiter, this is the 2nd house of money. And you have 2 planets there standing together. Jupiter's expansion, it does everything big. It's 100 times the size of Earth. It's the planet of luck. And Mars is standing next to it, which is the male energy going, I'll help that expansion. I'll give you some more. And it's in the sign of Virgo. Let's make some practical results in the house of money. So everything in your chart screams money, can I be honest? And this square between Neptune saying to your Saturn, your spirituality will not be sacrificed because of all this ego. We are not going to let your ego erupt. So it was a mixed bag. And of course you had no consciousness. The observer only comes in retrospect. So finally it's over. You look back and you go, ooh, he had a big ego.
That's exactly right. And in 2012, I shut down all those companies, got rid of all the cars, got rid of the house, started selling everything off. And I was like, I don't want any of this. I don't want to be sick anymore. I don't want to deal with any of this. And I did that, and I started just like focusing on like, what do I really love? And that was ancient wisdom. And that's when I shot my first documentary. It went viral online. It had like 8 million views.
What was that one?
It was called Dwarka, Atlantis of the East. It's about a lost civilization off the coast of India. and it had to do with like ancient flying machines and nuclear wars that are written in the Bhagavad Gita. Um,
Wait, stop the bus.
okay. And
You can
sacred geometry and all the things that I loved in
see, so that's Neptune. See, what happens is your whole personality, double Leo, is so big, and your appetite for life is so big, and your deep soul, which is what my book is all about, the separation between the ego, that was all ego, and your soul, who's old and ancient and wants to bring back our memories and give us back to purity and give us this conflicted. I
yeah,
mean, it's very obvious. Capricorn and Leos do not get along. They're two very different energies. But the good
interesting.
news is, but I see what you've done. You surrendered your destiny clearly. This is the Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars all in Virgo to say, I will serve at all cost, even if it includes my body being hurt, so that at the end of the story, I can stand in the presence of my own soul and contribute this ancient wisdom. Good
Hmm.
job.
Yeah, so I did that documentary, and then I'm fascinated with the Sri Yantra. If you're familiar with the Sri Yantra,
This
it's a
geometric.
yantra. I have
Yes.
one here. Oh, we
Geometric.
can't. It's blocking
There you
it.
go. Right there, we can see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like a really beautiful sacred geometry, and I've been researching this yantra since I was like 16 years old. And so here I was, probably when I figured out, when I sold all the companies and started kind of moving into this, I was like 30, 31-ish.
Saturn return.
And then, yeah, I was like, I'm only going to align myself with this. So I created a whole entire course because Sri Yantra translates to instrument of creation, law of manifestation, how to manifest, how to use this tool, this visual diagram to manifest what you want in your life.
Wow, well, that's a whole nother podcast. Let's leave that right there. Do not. You guys, you're going to follow him. You're going to go study this manifesting monster. He came in with this memory in a past life that knew how to manifest, whether you were conscious or not. And now you're humbled enough, which is what Saturn does. And by the way, in 2012 was a 7-year cycle. Saturn was in Libra, squaring Capricorn. In 2020, Saturn was in Capricorn, saying, and now we're going to get you out of here. And this is
Mm,
how astrology works. It's so simple. There's 7-year cycles. And right now, obviously, so you finished the film. That's just because we're just about to wrap this up.
yeah.
Now tell us currently, Amish, what you're doing.
Yeah, so the film is like definitely leading the charge right now and really like paving the way, and we're really growing that and the community, and we love the community, and it's been such a blessing, like I said. And so um, I run that company, and I kind of have like a holding company which has different entities inside of it. And so we have like a supplement line, we have the Ayurveda line, we sell what I call like spiritual goods online through another website, and then we also I'm a partner in a plot of land in Mexico that we're building a healing center on. And so we're going to start raising money for that and start building it out over the next 2 to 3 years. And yeah, that's kind of like my mission in life, is to use this wisdom of plant medicines and herbs and lifestyle and body panchakarma and like healing the body. And really just want to dedicate my life to that now. And I kind of always knew that, even as a kid, but I kind of ignored a lot of it. And I'm also a very creative person, so I want to make more movies and more media and kind of attach it to these things that I'm doing.
I love that so much. And you are in a 7-year cycle right now. Because Saturn is in Virgo, you're in a 7-year cycle as we speak. So, and we talked about that when we first met, that right at this moment, you're in a major change. So we always end the interview with the same question. This is a personality question. If there was one thing you could change about your personality, what would it be? Like is there anything about your character that you wish you could just do a little adjustment on?
Hmm. Patience. Having way more patience. I've been learning. I've been definitely practicing a lot of patience, but I could use a lot more too.
And
And
that, yes, that does not surprise me. When you are a double Leo and there's so much enthusiasm, and when you want Capricorn to get shit done, you're not sitting around.
no, I'm a workhorse too, and I wish I could just be like, turn this off, please. Just turn off so I can relax for a second. But like, I just want to keep going because I love what I do, and
And it touches so many people. So let's just take a moment in honor of you and all of us listening. One of my practices in this lifetime is slowing down time.
mm,
And knowing that this moment, first of all, what a gift you just handed us in this moment of being an example for someone that knew how to navigate through an illusionary state where you couldn't get answers, find the answers, and then share it with us. So thank you for that.
yeah.
And then just know you're so on schedule. This is everyone. Like, what is patience? I'm an elder. And if there's anything I'm learning, and I also could learn more about it, is going slowly. I mean,
Mm,
it's so funny because when I meditate and I ask for directions and I hear them say, go slowly, I'm like, they have been telling me this for like, please tell me I'm growing. I mean, am I getting better? But I can feel anyone like us who are high performers and feel a mission to contribute to this planet in honor of your family and the lineage that you're altering and changing as you move it to your children. May we all learn patience.
mm,
And that simply means slowing down with your breath, taking the moment and making it luxurious.
mm. I love that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and we just did it right now. And look what we just did in half an hour. We entered into your world and you were so elegant in your description. I feel like I felt you because I also had a childhood stomach issue my whole life. That constant pain, the wrong diagnosis, the desperate attempt, and then finally the mission comes on, and then finally the healing becomes clear. And then now you're sitting here going, what's next? So if you can trust that timing that brought you into those Saturn cycles, you'll know that your next cycle is finding its way to you and there's no rush.
Mm, hmm. Thank you. That was amazing.
You're amazing. That's
Ah,
amazing. A Capricorn double Leo. Thank you so much. You guys go buy the book, I Don't Believe in Astrology, and you will learn about where his Saturn is in Virgo, teaching him about the purity of intention and knowing it's enough, because the problem with you is you never think you've done enough.
that is the truth also.
So the medicine for that is, you called it, is patience. Like, sometimes I think to myself, if I could be aware in my future self of looking over at myself now, and all of you can do this and see what we've been through, we've done enough.
Hmm. Yeah, having self-respect, self-value, self-worth is definitely a big conversation that I've been having with myself over the last 6 months. It's like, no, you do so much, but I'm always like, I never do enough. And it's like, you didn't do this right, you didn't do this right. But I'm like, but I did a lot of things right
So
too.
here's your mantra that I'm going to finish with Saturn and Virgo, and this is in my book. I always, just repeat after me, I always get things done.
I always get things done.
I can trust that I will continue to.
I will trust that I can continue to.
Therefore, I can rest.
Therefore, I can rest. Mm, I like it.
It's yours.
There you go. Thank you.
I love that. How do you feel after watching this? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, Heather, I love that mantra too. Yes, beautiful. It was awesome. Love it. I saw a lot of you resonating earlier on in the conversation too about that diagnosis that he got. Yep, love the mantra. Tummy, GI troubles. Yep, exactly. Okay, yes. So that was just a conversation with Amish Shaw. And if anybody has missed anything, we will have limited time replays available to you. So stay tuned for that. What really resonated with me is the conversation around the ego and the soul, and of course, the permission slip that Deborah gave Amish. Permission slips are a really big component for how Deborah teaches astrology, and that is echoed throughout her new book. Imagine feeling permission to accept that thing about you or someone that you love that's been driving you nuts, or permission to lean into a part of you that you felt like didn't fit in your world, but it felt really right for you. There's so much to discover about you through the lens of astrology, and this event and Deborah's new book will help you do that. So pre-order your copy of that book now and get some extra special bonus offerings during the special pre-order period. And of course, stay with us for this event series. So thank you so much for joining us for another Wisdom Watch Party. Now we're going to transition over to our break time again until we start our next session at 1 p.m. Pacific. So 1 p.m. Pacific gives us about 2.5 hours to enjoy this